Okay, so what I wanted to do now that we are on the almost at Chanukah is focus on this Gemara here on Daf Chet, where there does seem to be hints already of Chanukah. Because in general, when we think of Chanukah, we think of the holiday that is celebrated because of what? My Chanukah. What does the Gemara say? My Chanukah?
Chanukah Sapphires, or the menorah.
No, my Chanukah. The Gemara has a particular story. My Chanukah.
Oh,
it's
Chanukah?
No, in Chan.
Right. Okay.
My Chanukah. What does the Gemara say? Not here. This doesn't say my Chanukah.
Well, Chanu and Ka?
No, they rested on the Chafei.
Chanu and Ka.
War and then
Chanu Chafei.
Thank you. The Gemara says, my Chanukah, there was a war. You really overthought
They
this.
had a war.
No, it's a Gemara, which says, my Chanukah. The Gemara says, yeah, the war and the miracle.
Okay, great.
You know, like thing we've been taught, like
Since you were little kids. I'm not I don't want you to overthink this. Now, when did that happen? When did the miracle of Chanukah happen?
Long time ago. Second base of Mikdash.
After the
thank you.
No, after the Tanakh.
Second base of Mikdash.
Thank you. Thank you. Second base of Mikdash. Thank you. That's true. During the period of the second base of Mikdash.
But it was early second temple.
Great. But as we will see, there are many indications that Chanukah was significant before that celebration. Rather, there are indications that Chanukah is part of their historical resonances to Chanukah before we actually institute the Chanukah based on that particular miracle. And the first of those is what we're going to focus on now. We'll see how much of it we get through. Is this Gemara in Avodah Zarah? So the Gemara, right? So if you remember the first parak of Avodah Zarah, which I know I haven't been here in a little bit, but we spent much time on the first parak of Avodah Zarah is devoted to the prohibitions of business with non-Jews around their holidays. Mm-hmm. So the Mishnah on Daf Ches opens up with a discussion of their holidays, right? Kalanda and Saturnia and Krastim and all these particular holidays, right? The birthdays of kings and
the
days
shavings
of days of ritual shavings. What?
Oh, rituals. No shave
ritual
November.
shavings. Yes, Ad Hayom they do this, right? Hindu temples they still do ritual shaving.
Hajj. Before you can enter. What are you doing?
Yeah, they do ritual shave.
Shave your head.
There you go. Right.
Shave all facial hair.
Okay, there you go.
Your eyebrows too?
Don would fail at that.
So they.
Me and Don have this running joke because he always has two hairs on the side of his
Okay. Can we just? You're unbelievable sometimes. Okay. So the Gemara says that two of these holidays are Kalanda and Saturnia, or Saturnalia in English. Okay. Now, when are these holidays? So, when do the Gemara say that these holidays are?
Before and after the winter solstice.
Good. Before and after the winter solstice. Then the Gemara gives you a history for this holiday. And the Gemara says, Tana Rabbanan, this is 3 lines from the Gemara. When did this holiday start? Before it was a pagan holiday, what was it?
Adam Harishon.
Adam Rishon. Why did he have a holiday? Lefi Shara Adam Harishon Yom Shenitma'et v'holei.
He saw the days getting smaller and he thought he was sinning.
Right. So Amar Oili Shemesh Vil Sarachti Olam Chashuch Badi. So he looks around and he says, Oy vey, I think maybe the world is coming to an end. Why would he think the world is coming to an end?
Because the days were getting shorter.
And therefore what?
It was getting darker earlier.
And therefore what? Why would that lead him to believe the world is coming to an end? What?
Going back to desolate and empty.
And why would he think the world would come to an end as a punishment for his sins?
What do you mean? He did sins and he thought Hashem was punishing him for doing sin.
Because what was the punishment supposed to be for his sin?
Get dispelled.
No, that's what happened. What was it supposed to be?
No Mashiach.
Death.
Right.
On the day you eat it, you'll die.
Right.
But he didn't die. But then he sees the world becoming darker and darker. What does he think? That death doesn't mean death. It'll mean the beginning of the process of the end of the world.
Oh.
Right?
Jeez, it's been like a week, man.
It's been a few months, right? A few months, right? So God was nice. He didn't kill it right away. He's just instead. It's like it's like the dire. It's the dire warnings of global warming, right? Slowly the world will just implode, right? So he looks around and he sees that every day there's less and less light, and by time before he knows it,
I know.
he thinks the world is going to end.
All of Australia is under that.
So, and he says, what's going to happen? Right, by the end of this process, the world is going to be dark again. Right? Again, why does he think that darkness is going to be the end of the world?
Because it's when he did that.
And because the world started in darkness. Right? Because before there was light, there was darkness, and therefore, if he sees the world getting darker and darker, he thinks by the end,
it's going to be...
I didn't say night, I said dark. Right, so he sees that every day there's more and more hours of darkness. So he thinks by the end it's going to be 24 hours of darkness, meaning the world is just going to return to the end. What? No, that's exactly the point. There was no calendar change. He didn't know that there was such a thing. He said maybe this is what God meant. This was the death that was decreed from heaven. So he fasts for 8 days and davens for 8 days. And then he saw that what happens, you hit the solstice and suddenly the day starts getting longer. Amar, he said, whoa, minhag shalom. Right? Said, the world's not coming to an end. This is just the way the world works. There are seasons. So he made an 8-day holiday. And the next year he made both holidays, right? Both 8-day periods, holidays. Who kavam l'shem shamayim, v'hem kavam l'shem avodas kochavim.
He made it for Hashem. They made it for
correct. And then the Gemara says that this, may depend on, on when exactly the world was created. But he says even if it doesn't really matter when it's created, the Kufas Tammuz is still the shortest days of the year. And therefore, that was what really freaked him out. Okay, so that's what the Gemara says. Now, before we get to Chanukah, let's just try to understand the holiday of Adam Harishon. So the Gemara, first of all, thinks that, and the Gemara was aware that there were 2 winter solstice holidays, pagan holidays. One before the solstice and one after the solstice.
Right.
The Gemara assumes that this originated with Adam, meaning it was not originally a pagan holiday. It became a pagan holiday. Okay. Now I gave you the first chapter of the Rambam in Hilchos Avodas Kochavim. Right? What does the Rambam say at the beginning of Hilchos Avodas Kochavim? How does it relate to this?
Because 8 days of celebration.
No, they are.
What does the Rambam say at the beginning of Hilchos Avodas Kochavim?
Don't look at me like I know it, Donnie.
Oh, never mind. What does the Rambam say at the beginning of Hilchos Avodas Kochavim? He tells you the history of Avodah Zarah. And he says, how did Avodah Zarah start?
Started by a big mistake.
What was the mistake? What was the great mistake of Avodah Zarah according to?
They served the stars that were meant for other.
First, they started worshipping the stars.
In the planet.
Right, the stars, the planets, the sun, whatever, all that stuff. And then what happened?
Then they...
Now, first, did they worship it as gods?
No.
No. First, they worshipped it as...
whatever.
As intermediaries to God. And then they started worshipping them as... Gods. And then they started worshipping idols as representatives of...
The stars.
And then they started worshipping the idols as gods. Right? Adam Harishon goes to that from Adam Harishon to the beginning of Avodah Zarah is a series of mistakes.
Right.
And then eventually Avram comes around and says, this was a messed up thing. You made a mistake and went back to the beginning and brought monotheism back.
So the 8 days, the Gemara brings up the 8 days before this day, Judaism is 8 days after this day. Those are
the solstice.
Right, the solstices. But those were leading up to a holiday.
No, those are the holiday. Those 8 days are the holiday.
Like that holiday
is 8 days long and 8 days long. There's 16 days.
Oh, so it's basically one of them is 8 days after the changing of solstice, and the other one is 8 days before the changing of the solstice.
Not the changing of the solstice, the solstice.
Solstice isn't that changing a season?
Yes, not the changing of the solstice, the solstice.
Okay.
The 8 days before the solstice and the 8 days after the solstice.
Okay, and those days are holidays.
Correct. Kalanda and Saturnia.
And Adam made those to worship.
What?
Adam made those to praise.
Wait. So the Rambam says that the history of Avodah Zarah was a series of mistakes. Right? Now this Gemara follows the exact same model, right? Rav Yolban notes this. How does the Rambam know? Right? Where did the Rambam get the notion that Avodah Zarah started as a series of mistakes, right? It went from monotheism to monotheism with intermediaries, to intermediaries with intermediaries, to worshiping the intermediaries, right? How did it get there? So Rav Yolban said, this Gemara says that's exactly the history of the world, right? That Adam started a holiday to thank God for nature, right? To thank God for the fact that the sun lengthening and the hours of the sun lengthening, the hours of the moon lengthening, days and night was originally non-pagan. One second was monotheistic, right? But slowly that became an error, right? That the errors crept in and it became pagan, and the Gemara is telling you that these pagan religions, you think that they originated as pagan religions. Not true. No, they originated as mono. And now, by the way, Max, stay.
I'm getting a piece of bread.
Stay.
I want a piece of bread.
I don't care. Sit. I have a question for you. Right? According to this, right, it's clear, right, that the answer to the question, who is the first monotheist in history, is not correct. It is not Avram. It is Adam. Right? Monotheism starts at the beginning of the world. Then there's a regression. Avram is machzir et zeh. Go get bread. Right? Now you can go. Go get bread.
Yeah, so we're celebrating the light 8 days of. There's a theme of light called holiday.
Okay, good. So now, just correct. So now, if we just look at this, we realize that the notion that there is a holiday in the dark of winter, right, around the winter solstice, for a period of 8 days, is literally, right, not figuratively, not an exaggeration, is, according to the Gemara, literally the oldest holiday in the history of the world, and every religion had some sort of winter solstice holiday, and they also tend to be 8 days, right? Ad Hayom Christianity has this. You think it doesn't, but it really does, because basically it goes from December 25th to January 1st, which I understand that Christmas is 12 days, technically, whatever that means. I don't understand it fully, but the point is that the main two holidays there are December 25th and January 1st. January 1st is what?
New Year's.
New Year's. Which of the two holidays in the Gemara is New Year's?
Rosh Hashanah.
In the Gemara we just read, Kalanda, right, which means calendar. Right? The calendar holiday, meaning the calendar holiday in the middle of the winter, is literally thousands of years old in some variant, right? And every religion magically has some sort of holiday in this time of year. We have Chanukah at this time of year, right? Which is, a light-based holiday, right? There's, any religion you want to pick, right? They have some sort of holiday. What? I assume they have one. You can look it up. I don't know. But presumably, right, this is a very, very traditional time, and they tend to be about light. Right? Now, many academics look at this Gemara, and they say, right, or simply the knowledge of holidays like Saturnalia, and they argue, and this is not what we're going to argue, right? I'll give this away. We're not going to argue this, right? That there is no Hanukkah miracle, right? There was no Hanukkah miracle. There was no nothing. It was just that every religion has to have a winter solstice holiday, and everybody gives it its own backstory, right? So the pagans had theirs, and we have ours, right? And then you just got to come up with a good story to back it, right? That's like the cynical academic view of this. It's not the direction we're going to go here, right? But what is clear, right, is that what I do want to point out is that you can, with full emunah, say that it may not be accidental that Chazal were so, right, not every miracle that we had in our history brought about a holiday.
Right.
And not every holiday that we had lasted past the Churban HaBayit. Right? Chanukah and Purim are unique. And if you're going to pick one that's going to last, and it happens to also be related to literally the oldest holiday in the world, not the pagan one, but the pre-pagan one, meaning Adam Rishon, then it sort of makes sense that holiday is going to be the one with staying power, and therefore Hanukkah seems to at least be related, right? Our 8-day light-based holiday. Now,
Thank you, Rabbi Zirirng, for allowing me to get it.
Wonderful. Okay, so maybe I'll do this a little bit of a different order here. But to give you an indication of this, I gave you the Gemara in Shabbos, Chaf Aleph Amud Beis. The Gemara in Chaf Aleph Amud Beis in Shabbos has a machlokes between Hillel and Shammai. Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. How are you supposed to light the
menorah?
The candles on the menorah, on the Chanukah? What?
Was there years in between Hillel and Beis Shammai, or they?
No, they're contemporaneous.
We usually ask them.
Yes.
Did we not argue after Adam's history?
What?
Do we know that what Adam made was Hanukkah or not?
I didn't say it was Hanukkah.
No, but
the holiday similar to that.
Similar to it.
We haven't gone there yet.
It's hard for him to make a holiday called Hanukkah.
I didn't say he made it. I said that this time of year is ripe for light-based holidays, which run 8 days. I'm not saying, right? Because it's the winter solstice. It's a good time for light-based holidays, right? Okay. Now, why? So, who got to the Gemara in Shabbos?
Can we play devil's advocate?
And I hope you've seen it. What?
Can we play devil's advocate and say that how would the historians prove that it's not anything substantial in the Hanukkah story? It's just one successors.
How do they prove that? They just don't. They just say, well, everyone has one, so it must be that it's not real. Right? Meaning, okay. So the Gemara in Shabbos has this machlokas Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. How do you light the candles? Now, what is the machlokas? According to Beis Hillel,
8 to 1.
Beis Hillel
1 to 8.
1 to 8. According to Beis Shammai,
8 to 1.
Good. Why does Beis Hillel say you light 1 to 8?
So
So he has two reasons.
Well, 2 reasons, right?
Right. One is that the days that have already passed.
Right.
The other is Malam Kodesh Lo Meridin. Beis Shammai says Yamin Ha.
The days that are coming,
or the Parei Hachag, right? The Karbanot,
the fruits.
Oh my God, Parei, the cows brought on Sukkos. The cows brought on Sukkos are brought in descending order. 14 on the first day, 13 on the second day, 12, etc. Now we'll come back to Beis Shammai in a minute, but according to Beis Hillel alone, right? According to Beis Hillel, right? Does Beis Hillel's minhag, which we paskin like, does it in any way remind you of Adam's holiday?
The days to...
Wait, say that again?
Right, Beis Hillel's minhag, which we have. Yeah, why?
It doesn't.
It should.
The light
really?
It was on the source sheet. Of course,
a short amount of time to light.
No kidding.
The amount of light increases.
Yeah, right. Meaning, remember, what's the description of the Gemara? The description of the Gemara is that Adam celebrated when he realized that there was more light every day than there was the light there was previously. Right. That should sound familiar to Beis Hillel, who says each day we add. Now, the truth is that there's a linguistic point which I didn't focus on for you, but I will note now, which is that there's only 2 places in Shas that the Gemara says that they made a holiday l'shana ha'acheret, right, in the next year. And what are the 2 places in Shas where we have a holiday made l'shana ha'acheret?
For next year?
That word, yes, that it was made on the following year, following a particular... No.
Didn't they do that?
Hanukkah. No, but those words. Where the Gemara... No. So the Gemara in Shabbos...
They would celebrate.
No, it was Hanukkah and Adam Harishon's holiday. Right, this one.
Didn't it say that in the Megillah though?
No.
That every year following that they would celebrate?
They did, but those words in the Gemara, I mean, the words, L'shana ha'acheret. So the Gemara in Shabbos, Chaf Aleph says that they had the miracle, and then L'shana ha'acheret, they made an 8-day holiday, and Adam Harishon realized that the sun wasn't extinguishing, L'shana ha'acheret, he made the holiday of 8 days, right? So the Gemara seems to be indicating this, and Beis Hillel already, right, points to this, okay? Now keep that in mind. Okay? We're going to be putting together a lot of factors here. So the first sort of hint that Hanukkah may not only be about the story that we have, the miracle of the Pach Shemen and the war, is the fact that we have another 8-day holiday in the winter solstice already from Adam Harishon that already focuses on light. Mm-hmm. Now, there's another one. Mishnah and Bikurim. You saw the Mishnah and Bikurim. Everyone did see the Mishnah and Bikurim. Good. What does the Mishnah and Bikurim say?
I couldn't understand. Yeah.
So Mishnah and Bikurim said, okay, first of all, what are Bikurim?
The first fruits.
First fruits, good. What species do you bring the first fruits from?
Shivas Aminim.
Shivas Aminim. Good. So the Mishnah said, when are you supposed to bring the Shivat Aminim? When are you supposed to bring the Bikurim? Starting at what holiday?
Atzeres to Sukkot.
Atzeres. Good. Atzeres, which is Shavuos, right? Which is Shavuos in the Torah is called what? Atzeres or Chag HaBikurim, right? That should be the hint there that you start bringing Bikurim then. Until when? Until Chag, until Sukkot. Until Tu B'Shvat is nothing.
Oh, right? I thought you were rolling your eyes. We both said Sukkot.
Sukkot.
What, did you not say Sukkot?
He said Tu B'Shvat.
Oh, I said Tu B'Shvat.
Yeah.
No, Sukkot.
Why do we do the blessing on the Bikurim then?
We don't.
We don't.
Does that include?
Yeah,
Tu B'Shvat is defining the years, but it's not the first fruit. So that one actually grows.
Sukkot, does that include Sukkot or not?
What?
Does that include Sukkot or not?
Yeah, at Sukkot. Yeah, up to Chag, at a Chag.
So like until the first.
Now why? Okay, now tell me very simply. Why is it that Bikurim are brought from Shavuos to Sukkot?
That's when most fruits.
Good, because that's when the fruits grow. Right. You're bringing the first fruits, and that's when most fruit. Good. Then the Mishnah says, but b'di'evet. Now, if you bring in that period, it's lechatchila, and therefore you, or maybe the koreh. Now, what does that mean? So, whenever you bring bikurim, the ideal way to bring bikurim is to bring the first fruits, give it to the kohen, wave it around, and read psukim, which you all know. And if I hear another person who doesn't know it, I'm going to get very annoyed. Which is Arami Oved Avi. Right? You know that thing that you do at the Seder.
Yep.
Right? Arami Oved Avi.
Yep.
Right? Rabbi Yehuda Chassid even thinks that the whole Seder was what you said at Mikra Bikurim. It is insane. It doesn't make any sense. But he does say it. It's not the point. I didn't say it was right. Okay. Fine. So, but then the Gemara says, but there is a time that you can bring Bikurim B'di'eved without reading the Psukim. Sukkot until Chanukah. Now, what is weird about that?
No fruits grow.
What's weird about that?
The
winter time.
What's even weirder about that?
There won't be anything growing.
Weirder.
The Gemara says.
Okay, so we're all saying, by the way, the same thing in different ways. So let's come up with something.
What is the weirdest thing about that statement in the Mishnah?
What does Hanukkah have to do with anything?
What?
What does that have to do with? Well, Bikurim would have been around before Hanukkah.
Yes, right. The Mishnah says, right. The Mishnah says that b'di'eved you're allowed to bring Bikurim until Hanukkah. But as Shimon notes correctly, what are you talking about until Hanukkah? Bikurim is a mitzvah d'oraisa. It's in the psukim. Chanukah does't exist for thousands of years.
But it does.
How can you tell me? Right? Wait.
Got to work through the
work through it.
thought train here.
Now, so you're jumping to the winter solstice, but no. I know that's what you want to say, but that's not. But that's probably not right. Here's a better explanation. Okay, let's go back. Why are you allowed to bring Bikurim lechatchila from Shavuos until Sukkot? Again, because why?
That's when the fruits grow.
That's when the fruits grow, and therefore that's when the first fruits grow. Now, let's do a little bit of agriculture here. Okay? When does wheat start growing? In Israel.
Winter. End of winter.
No, summer. Shavuos.
I really don't know.
Shavuos. When does barley grow?
Not
Summer.
a farmer.
Wrong.
I just
Really?
Spring. How do you know? You should know that, by the way. Even if you're not a farmer, you should know that. Because on Pesach we bring the Omer, which is made of, which is barley, and on Shavuos we bring the Shtei Alechem, which is from wheat. Right? You should know that. Good. When do grapes grow? When do pomegranates grow in Israel? Spring, summer. They all come in the spring, summer, and the end of the harvest season, therefore, is Sukkot. Is the fall. In the fall. There's one exception. Good. Olives. When are olives picked in Israel?
Fall.
When the fall?
The beginning of the end of the fall.
Late fall. Right now. You drive around Gush Etzion now,
You're gonna have tons of olives.
And you will, where the Arabs are picking olives, and you will find them picking it right now.
We go olive picking.
Why did it say that?
Yeah, you can do that literally anywhere. There are olive trees everywhere here.
Yes, but this is the main picking season, and therefore, explain to me agriculturally, right, why it makes sense that b'di'eved you're allowed lechatchila you have to bring bikurim until Sukkot, but b'di'eved you have till Chanukah. Why until Chanukah?
That's when the last fruit grows.
Because that's when the last of the Shivat Aminim is. So it's b'di'eved because the other 6
Already grew.
But b'di'eved, it's a fruit. It has a pit.
Olive is a
It has a seed. Right? It is both halachically a fruit because it grows from a tree, and scientifically a fruit because it has a pit.
Cucumber?
What?
According to the seed, wouldn't a cucumber be a fruit?
Yes. Cucumber, tomatoes, avocados, they're all fruit.
What?
Whoa.
You know,
Yes, they're all fruit.
I knew tomatoes, not cucumbers.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
Anything that has seeds.
Good.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Peppers.
Wait, okay.
That's a lot.
So, what does the Mishnah prove already? Right, the Mishnah therefore tells you. So far, we found one significance to Chanukah, which is that it tends to fall around the winter solstice, which means that it's at the same time of year as Adam HaRishon's winter solstice holiday. Point 2 is that the Mishnah thinks that it has agricultural significance because it's the end of Bikurim, right? Which means that Chanukah, according to the Mishnah, even before the Chanukah story happened, was already a significant time of year. Now, Rabbi Jonanthan points out that this little point is very important for Chanukah in a very cool way, right? Chanukah story. Why did they only have a little bit of olive oil?
Because it was the end of the olive season.
Everything was defiled. And then what does the Gemara tell you? That it took
7 days to grow.
to get more olives. And you all wonder why. Right? Why does it take so long to get olives?
There was no
and why was there no good olive oil?
There's no olives growing in Israel.
And the answer is because it was Chanukah always happens when?
Same time of year.
Which is the time when they pick the olives.
Right.
So of course there's no olives. You're at the end. This is like Israel Ad Hayom, that it's an agricultural based society, which means that you get fruits and vegetables when they're in season. When do olives come in season?
No.
Chanukah, which means if there's no oil left,
Then you have to pick.
you have to pick because it's the olive picking season, and therefore it takes you a week to get oil. It's not a nace. It wasn't there was no
You have to
oil.
let them sit for a week.
No, you have to pick them,
So I
right?
have to take a week
If you've run out of oil from last year, and everything left from last year in the storehouses is tameh,
Right.
and now it's olive picking season.
Right.
So what does that mean? You got to go to the fields. You got to find the olives. You got to process the olives.
Why does that?
Right?
That takes 7
I know. Yeah, I'm thinking about that too.
Oh yeah, because it does for this. Why? Because the oil for the menorah is made from only the first drop of each olive.
Oh, right. So you
Right?
need a ton of olives.
Correct. But he said this is not like. Why was the miracle of Chanukah, why the miracle of Chanukah? There were no olives, and we were at the end of our olive supply, right? And we needed to wait for new olives. Why did that happen in Chanukah? Of course it happened in Chanukah, because that's when we always run out of olives, right? Every single year. So if you manage to make it back into the Beit HaMikdash right during olive picking season, then you are going to be out of last year's supply. And if everything that was left from last year's supply was tameh,
then you got to make more.
then you got to make more. But you couldn't have done it in advance because there were no olives. Because this is when you pick them. Every year you pick them right now.
Starting Hanukkah, you pick them. Or
This time of year, right? This time of year, this is when you pick olives. So, point 1 is that Chanukah is Yosef. Point 1, Chanukah is connected, happens to magically fall out of the same time of year as Adam's 8-day holiday, which is light-based. 2 is, hey, magically, Chanukah also has an agricultural significance in Bikurim, which is that it's always the end of the olive picking season. Right? It is always the olive picking season, and therefore, if you're going to have a problem in terms of the Beit HaMikdash, in terms of finding oil, of course this is the time of year when that's going to be a problem because you always run out of your old supplies. Right? Every single year. Right? It is the end of the agricultural season of the Shivat HaMinim, specifically olives. Okay? So far, there are already two things that are significant about Chanukah, even before we get to the nace of the nace itself. Now, point 3. Okay? Point 3 is that not only does the holiday of Chanukah happen to fall out during a time when there are other holidays and other agricultural events around, but Chanukah wasn't celebrated for the first time in the time of Chanukah.
Since it was by Chagai.
Good. The first time that Chanukah is celebrated is in Chagai. So, who read through Chagai?
I read
Twice.
Some of you read Chagai. Okay, good. So Chagai is, now just to give you an idea of how little Chagai is read, as Max pointed out to me yesterday, in the art scroll, Tanakh, they left out...
Remember on recording.
I know. In the art scroll Tanakh, they left Chagai out of the table of contents.
They left a bunch of prophets out.
Yes, it is not in the table of contents. They have...
2.5 pages long.
It is, what?
It is in it, but they also...
Not in the table of contents,
I
it isn't.
said it's in the actual...
It's in the Tanakh, but they left it out of the table of contents.
They also
Apparently no one ever looked for the book of Chagai.
They also...
I know, I feel like it's one of those ones that, like, you know where it is if you're trying to find it.
Yeah, that's great. Good for them. Okay.
I gotta get this one.
You're like, you don't believe it.
The little black one.
You don't believe that they didn't care about... yes. It is quite striking. Okay. Chagai is one of the Nevi'im that we call Treyasar. What does Treyasar mean? Max, what does Treyasar mean?
Trace are the people that were like... After
What does it mean? What do the words Treyasar mean? 12.
Oh, right.
12. 12. 12.
2.
Trace 2 and Asar is 10. 12.
It's literally, no, it's in here.
Hey, it's a new one. Look at that.
Which one did you look at?
No, he showed me. It wasn't there. Oh, wait, no. What do you... Oh, I see. They put it... How did they even do this?
Started from here, and then went that way.
Oh, and the timelines interrupt. I see. The appendices here. Interesting. Okay.
So it is in here.
Oh, it is there. I take it back. It isn't there. Okay, good. So Chagai... Okay, good. There you
You
go.
also looked at it.
I did, because it doesn't make sense. The appendices... Like, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Just messing with you, Max.
We apologize to our...
Why shouldn't we start?
Okay.
What? No.
I'm kidding. I'm
What are
kidding.
you doing?
Jeez, it was a joke.
Why would you do that?
Didn't even make sense. Didn't make sense. Okay. So, Chagai. What is the theme of the book of Chagai? Since you all are experts in the book of Chagai.
Well, I mean, some of us are.
Yes, you're all... Yes.
What? I missed the question.
What is the theme of the book of Chagai?
No.
Okay, the book of Chagai is written during the rebuilding of the second Beit HaMikdash. Right? And the theme of Chagai is to encourage people to actually get around to building the Beit HaMikdash. That is the theme of Chagai.
Right.
Now, what's interesting about Chagai is that Chagai is very, very, very specific about the dates on which every prophecy happened.
Right.
Okay? So Chagai starts off at the beginning of Perek Aleph, in the second year of Daryavesh, on the 6th month on the first day of the month, where he says it's not yet time to build the Beit HaMikdash. What day is the 6th? What is the 6th month? Thank you. So Rosh Chodesh Elul.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But then he tells him, no, it really is, because you guys have been building your houses, but now it's time to, right?
Get up.
Right? All you're doing is building your own houses. It's time to, move along the Beit HaMikdash as well. Right? So, on the 21st day of... So then he starts encouraging them to build the Beit HaMikdash on what day? On the 24th day of the 6th month. Right? What day is that? That's the 24th day of Elul. So then they start building the Beit HaMikdash. So now they start building the Beit HaMikdash. They start establishing the Beit HaMikdash, and they get through it, and they actually do it. And then on the 21st day of the 7th month, a new nevuah comes. 7th month is Tishrei. What is the 21st day of Tishrei?
No. Shavasar. No. Why did I say that?
I have no idea why you said that.
Yeah, I know.
Good, Max. What is the 21st day of Tishrei?
Oh, Yom Kippur. No. Why am I...
I'm just going to ignore that.
Just ignore that one. That was not me.
What holiday is on the 21st day of Tishrei?
True question. There is a
It is not a trick question. There is one. Tishrei, people. Okay. First day of Tishrei is what holiday? 10th day of Tishrei is? The 15th day of Tishrei is?
I have no frame of reference with the Jewish date. I really got to get back on
15th day of Tishrei is? Sukkot.
So lost.
Oh yeah.
Right, that is Tishrei.
Good. The 21st day of Tishrei is therefore what we know as Hoshana Rabbah, the 7th day of Sukkot,
Right.
the last day of Sukkot, right? You can count. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Hoshana Rabbah. Then a nevuah comes from Chagai to Zerubbabel, and he says, tell the people who are depressed that the Beit HaMikdash is not as beautiful as the first Beit HaMikdash, right? Meaning there were a few 80-year-olds who had seen the first Beit HaMikdash, and they were depressed because the second Beit HaMikdash was not as beautiful, right? And he said, I know it looks like nothing, but be strong because I am with you, and I'm going to punish the nations. I'm going to help the Jewish people, right? Etc., etc., right? So don't worry. That happens on the last day of Sukkot. Now, why would it happen on the last day of Sukkot?
Why?
Yes, why did Hashem send in Nevuah to Chagai that says, don't worry, I'm still with you, even though the Beit HaMikdash is not as beautiful on the last day of Sukkot? Yosef, why would he do that? Why would Hashem send in Nevuah to Chagai on Hoshana Rabbah to tell the Jews, don't worry, the Beit HaMikdash is not as beautiful as it used to be, I'm still with you? Why on Sukkot?
Because you have to bring the Bikurim to the Beit HaMikdash.
Not Bikurim. Because you have to be Ola Regel. You have to come to the Beit HaMikdash. Right. So they had just come to celebrate in the Beit HaMikdash, and it wasn't as beautiful, so they were depressed. So Hashem said, don't worry about it.
Right.
Right? And then what happens? Then another Nevuah comes to him on what day? Besrim Va'arba Latchi'i. The Esrim Va'arba is?
24th.
24th, Latchi'i. What is the Chi'i?
Kislev.
The Chi'i, the 9th month. What is the 9th month?
Kislev.
Kislev. The 24th of Kislev. And what does he say to him? So first he asks him a few halachot, right? And then what does he tell him? In Pasuk Yud Chet. Simu na levavchem min hayom hazeh v'mala miyom esrim v'arba l'tchilim min hayom asher yusad eichal Adonai simu levavchem. Take note that the Beit HaMikdash, the foundation we lay the foundation today. Right? And then he says, tell Zerubbabel that I am about to overturn the horses and the chariots of all the mighty kingdoms. There were two nevuot on the 24th day of Kislev. One said that from now on, this will be the day when you remember that we did what? Established the Beit HaMikdash. Which means what day did they establish the Beit HaMikdash?
24th.
No, the 25th. Because the Nevuah came in advance.
Oh, the day before.
Right? Which means that he said on the 25th of Kislev. We established the Beit HaMikdash. And then a second Nevuah comes on the 25th. Right? The 24th. And says, what am I about to do?
Wait, so the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed.
So first he said, I'm going to establish the Beit HaMikdash. We established the Yesod of the Mikdash. And then Yosef, what else does he say? On the same day, he has a second Nevuah. And what does he say he's about to do? Overturn the thrones of the kingdoms of the nations. Does that sound familiar? Two Nevuot on Erev Chanukah. One about establishing the Beit HaMikdash, and one about destroying the nations who are fighting God. That better sound familiar.
War of the Malachim.
Yeah, that should sound a lot like Chanukah because, shockingly, it's about Chanukah Rabbi, it's about killing our enemies, and it happened on the same day. Right? The same day. Right? This is not like, right, two Nevuot on Erev Chanukah saying, tomorrow, tomorrow, you will remember that we have established the Beit HaMikdash and that I am going to conquer your enemies. Right? So, Sefer Chagai, so now, right? What? Great. So now, we have yet a third connection to Chanukah from before. And now here we're even explicit, right? No longer are we talking about just a winter solstice holiday, nor are we even talking about agricultural significance. We literally have Chanukah. We literally have the celebration of Chanukah Rabbi plus victory, future victory over enemies, with two nevot on Erev Chanukah predicting that the future, meaning the next day, the 25th of Chanukah, of Kislev, which we know as Chanukah, is going to be a day where we celebrate Chanukah Rabbi and victory over enemies. Right? Now, let me make it even more complicated for you.
Yay.
Right? Yay! More complicated. Remember Beit Shammai? Max, remember Beit Shammai?
Yes, we do.
Good. Beit Shammai said, how do you light the candles?
From
8 to 1. And why did he say 8 to 1?
you want to increase.
It's the
When you want to.
He gave two reasons. One is Yamim Ha Nichnasim, and the other is
Parei.
Parei Chag. And now let me ask you a question. Why would Beit Shammai think that we model the lighting of the candles on the fact that the karbanot on Sukkot are brought in descending order, Yosef? Yosef.
yeah.
Why would Beit Shammai say that the karbanot that the candles on Hanukkah are brought paralleling the karbanot on Sukkot? Why would you do such a thing?
To replace it because you don't remember those korbanot.
Yeah, why would you do that? What's the connection between Hanukkah and Sukkot?
Well, we said the Bikurim, that was the final season.
So Bikurim is one indication. Good. Give me two more. We just read one of them in Chagai.
Hoshana Rabbah bit.
Yes, remember Chagai? Right? What did they do? On the last day of Sukkot, they complained that the Beit HaMikdash was not beautiful enough.
Right.
And therefore, on Erev Chanukah, God said, okay, so now we will celebrate
The
Chanukah Rabbi. Right? What does that indicate? That in the time of Chagai, what was Chanukah? The celebration of the Chanukah Rabbi that should have been when? That should have been on Sukkot.
Right.
Yeah. Guess who says that that's what Chanukah is?
No.
The book of Maccabees literally says that. Right? If you look at 2 Maccabees at the bottom of this page, right? It happened on the same day in which the sanctuary had been profaned by the foreigners, 3 years early.
What is the book of Maccabees in Hebrew?
Sefer Maccabim.
Ooh, shocker.
They're books from the times of the Maccabees. Right? 3 years early, the purification of the sanctuary took place. That is on the 25th day of the same month, which was Kislev. They celebrated for 8 days with rejoicing, like the festival of Sukkot. Right? Meaning Hanukkah was literally modeled on
Sukkot.
Right? In the time of Hanukkah. And if you continue, right? If this wasn't clear enough, right? And look, continue, look to the other page. Since the Jews were still fighting in caves as guerrillas, this is the parenthetical comments, right? As guerrillas on Tishrei, right, 164 BC, they could not properly honor the 8-day holiday of Sukkot and Shmini Atzeret, which is a temple holiday, so it was postponed until the recapture of Yerushalayim and the purification of the temple. And guess what they did, according to the book of Maccabees, on the original Hanukkah? They carried aravot. Right? And also fronds of palm, kapot tamarim. Right? Lulav. They offered hymns of thanksgiving to God who given them strength and salvation, enabled to purify his own holy place, and they decreed by public edict, ratified by vote, whole nation of the Jews observe these days every year, which means...
But we have other sources saying that Hanukkah happened during the winter solstice.
It did.
The time of...
The celebration was on Hanukkah. Right? But the beginning, right, but what did they miss out on? They missed out on Sukkot. So what did they do as part of their Hanukkah celebrations?
They based it off of Sukkot.
They based it off of Sukkot, which, surprisingly, or not surprisingly at this point, is also the connection that was made by Chagai. Remember Chagai had the same connection, right? The same connection. Now, this point is made by the Moroktia. If you go back a little bit here, the source I have in the middle, who's the Moroktia?
It's Rabbi Yaakov Emden.
Thank you for being able to read what I wrote for you. Rabbi Yaakov Emden. Right? Rabbi Yaakov Emden. Who is Rabbi Yaakov Emden? Max, who is Rabbi Yaakov Emden? Max.
Hit the table.
Max, who's Rabbi Yaakov Emden?
Hold on a second.
What?
I can hear him.
Who is Rabbi Yaakov Emden?
I don't know.
So Yaakov Emden was 18th century German scholar. His father is the Chacham Tzvi. And he writes as follows. He wants to answer the question of the Beit Yosef. The Beit Yosef has a fundamental question on Chanukah. And he says, why was Chanukah 8 days if the miracle was only 7? Blah, 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 blah. Right? But the Morksia's answers is as follows. And he says, Vitam Shem Chanukah Nireli Davar Chadash Bezrat Hashem Yitbarach. Right? I have a new shot in Chanukah. Shenikra Ken Gam Al Shem Chinuch HaHeichal. It was called this because they sanctified the Heichal. Shaya Bizman Hazeh Bimei Chagai Anavi Kekaktub B'Nevuato. Right? As it says in Chagai, Shebeshrim V'Arba Chishu Kislev Husad U'Macharo Chanku Bakrava. Right, on the 24th they established it, so the 25th they celebrated with Korbanot. The Beit HaMikdash wasn't built yet, according to Midrash. Right, it wasn't actually Beit HaMikdash yet, it was a Mizbeach, it was whatever it was. And he says, what else did they do that day? They lit the menorah, and why didn't they light it on the 24th? Because you wait till Bein Harabayim, right? Which means they have to wait till the next day, right? Valshem Chanukah Rabbi Nikrayim Yemei Neis Haneirot She'irabo Toperek Chanukah V'yesh Kan Sad Gadol Mashanagu Lasot Sudot Larbo K'tzat Simcha B'Achronim Nidchaku Bazeh. And he says, "V'imzani miyashev gam ken kusha beis Yosef habeit Yosef shereu leval yeh rishon min shmonaya mimena rishon min minyan rather." But Beit Yosef said, "Why is the first miracle?" V'omer ani shasu zikaron liyom rishon lechvod ha'echal shadligu tchilat b'Bayit Sheni. And I say it's because commemorating the one in the time of Bayit Sheni. V'odulai zchut zeh hayom lefi shenchu leichal bo b'tchila yidei adlakat menara amad lahem shenaseh lehem haniz matzu apach. And it was a miracle for finding it great. And then he goes on to other examples. So now, if you put it all together, right, Yosef, if you put it all together, right, what do you have, right? And Rav Yoel Ben Nun puts it all together. I gave you his article at the end. That we think that Chanukah, the hyperlink, there you go,
it's not working.
right? That Chanukah starts off in the time of the Maccabim, Chashmonaim. But it doesn't, because first of all, Chanukah. Why did Chanukah become such a big holiday?
Because we beat enormous odds.
Because first of all, no. Because first of all, as the Moroktzia points out, Chanukah was the traditional day to celebrate Chanukah Rabbayit, and therefore, when the Chashmonaim reconquered the Bayit and re-sanctified Beit HaMikdash, it was on the same day that the Beit HaMikdash, the second Beit HaMikdash, had originally been sanctified in the time of Chagai, right? And remember, in the time of Chagai, now the Moroktzia doesn't put this out, Rav Yoel does, right? In the time of Chagai, what did God promise on Chanukah? What did He promise in the Nevuah of Chagai? That one day He would do two things.
He would wipe out.
He would establish the Beis HaMikdash, and He would conquer their enemies.
Wipe out,
right? Which means that Chanukah was the fulfillment of the Nevuah of Chagai. Right? It's a big deal because this becomes the traditional way, the day rather, to.
But I thought you said it happened the day after the Nevuah.
Which is the 25th. The Nevuah is on the Erev Chanukah.
The whole story,
which means that the celebration is on the 25th.
Right, but the whole story wasn't until later. Like the whole story of them conquering
happens many years later in the time of Chanukah, but on the same day. Right? So when they're setting up a holiday, what day do they set it up on?
25th.
The 25th, which is the traditional day of celebrating the Chanukah Habayit and our victories over our enemies.
So Chanukah was really established before this whole Chanukah story was really.
Or our Chanukah is established on the same day as a previous celebration. Right? And then you add 2 points. That what?
He looks like Angus Young from AC/DC.
Go ahead. Give me a smack.
No, it doesn't work. It only works when they're resting their head on the table. That's just annoying now.
Okay.
That guy,
so the first point is that Chanukah doesn't come out of nowhere. The celebrating a holiday, both for Chanukah Rabbi and for victory over our enemies, is literally the fulfillment of the Nevuah of Chagai, which happened on Erev Chanukah, predicting that the next day would be such a celebration,
right.
The 25th of the 9th month.
But a few years later.
Okay, right? Add to that two things, right? One, which is that Chanukah is always the end of an agricultural period. Right? And when do we traditionally have Jewish holidays?
At the end of an agricultural...
Or the beginning, right? Meaning at agricultural markers.
Sukkot was based off of...
Exactly. Right?
Pesach was...
right? Plus the fact that the winter solstice was always a time when, since Adam Arishon, you thank God for what?
For making the days longer again.
For nature. For not destroying the world and for nature. And how did you thank God for nature?
He fasted and...
That's how Adam did it. But how do...
You make a holiday.
Yes, and... B'Shevach v'Hodah, great. Right. But if you want to mark a holiday that marks the addition of light into the world...
Right.
What would be a great way of doing that? Yes.
Reenact whatever.
Right, lighting the menorah. Right, lighting the menorah. So Rabbi Jonanthan takes all of this together and he says, you know why Chanukah is the significant holiday it is?
No.
I hope at this point you've gotten it, right?
Yes.
Is he says, every biblical holiday has two components to it. Yosef, what are the two elements to every biblical holiday? Agricultural and
the time.
And historical, right? Pesach. What do we celebrate on Pesach? Two things.
The spring, the coming of the new year, technically the Jewish New Year.
Chag HaAviv. We celebrate the spring, and we celebrate Yetziat Mitzrayim, right? Sukkot. What do we celebrate?
The end of the harvest,
which we call in Hebrew Chag HaAsif, right? The
miracles in the desert, or
the miracles in the desert. Right?
Which we're still not.
Shavuot is Chag HaBikurim, and Chazal say what historical event happened?
Torah.
Good. So Rabbi Jonanthan says, wait a second. Most rabbinic holidays, like Purim, is there any agricultural parts of Purim? No. And all the other Rabban holidays that were all Batel Mavutal, right? Did they have any agricultural component?
Yeah.
No, they were just historical ones. But he said, what's the only the rabbinic holiday which has both agricultural aspects to it and historical aspects to it?
Oh, Tu B'Shvat is only agriculture.
Yes, it's not a holiday. It's just a Rosh Hashanah. It's just Rosh Hashanah. Right? There's no celebratory part to it. Right? It's not a thing. Right? Tu B'Shvat is not a thing. Right?
You okay with
this? I don't like this.
The only holiday he notes that rabbinically incorporates historical and agricultural components is Chanukah. And therefore Chanukah becomes modeled on the biblical holiday system. And we celebrate it because it already, as we saw from Bikurim, was it's really the end of the Bikurim season. So it already has agricultural significance. That agricultural significance is particularly important in the context of Chanukah because that's what allowed for the miracle to happen. The fact that it was the end of the olive year, and therefore there was no olive oil left, but there were olives available to start the process. Meaning the agricultural realities of Chanukah is what allowed for the miracle. Right? So that gives it a historical anchor to Chanukah. Add to that it was a victory at war, but not just any victory at war, because it was a victory that did what? That was the fulfillment of a prophecy from the time of Chagai, plus the Chanukah Rabbi, even if it was temporary, it was also the fulfillment of a Nevuah of Chagai, because this was the historical date of establishing the second Beit HaMikdash in the time of Chagai. Right? Add to that in the original one, it was in the time of Chagai, Chanukah was, the Nevuah of Chanukah came to comfort the people over their lackluster celebration of which holiday? Sukkot. And then, according to the book of Maccabees, in the time of the Maccabees, they did the same thing. That because the Beit HaMikdash had been in the hands of the Greeks, they missed out on Sukkot. So, remember, we already saw that Sukkot and Chanukah are linked agriculturally. So what did they do? They waited till Chanukah, and then what did they do? They celebrated quasi Sukkot, which makes sense. That's what we do in Bikurim, right? Bikurim, the end of the season, is really Sukkot, but if you really, really need to, you can extend Sukkot until Chanukah, right? Plus, right, all of this happens to happen at the time of year when, historically speaking, Adam Harishon celebrated the addition of light into the world, right? So it works out perfectly that if you're going to set up a holiday that's going to commemorate both a victory and a miracle specifically that focuses on two things, on light, but light through olives, at the end of the olive season, right, then you're going to put an 8-day holiday at the winter solstice, around the winter solstice, because everything works together. Hanukkah therefore catches the references of the agricultural holiday, because it's the end of Bikurim, and the original one, according to Maccabees, Hanukkah was literally the second Sukkot. It was like Pesach Sheni, but for Sukkot, right? Sukkot Sheni was Hanukkah, and it always is, and that's what allowed for the miracle of the olives. Add to that miracle works very nice conceptually with Adam Harishon's holiday at the same time, which is that around the winter solstice we have a holiday where we add light to the darkness, right? Add to that the fulfillment of the prophecy of Chagai, and you get yourself a holiday that looks very much like a biblical holiday, because it commemorates both a historical miracle and an agricultural reality, right, and its implications, and that's what gives Hanukkah its staying power, is that it doesn't start in the time of Hanukkah. It has all these historical, halachic, prophetic resonances built in for hundreds of years, which makes it a very powerful holiday, and that's why they establish it. Well,
how can someone say that Hanukkah is a derabanan?
It is a derabanan. No, it doesn't. It's derabanan. Nothing there was deraisa. Chagai is too late to be. Right, Purim is also in Tanakh.
From Adam, we have the historical context.
But it's not the Torah. God doesn't make a. Right, there's no mitzvah to do it. Right, there's a historical component. Right, it's not deraisa, but it's not a pure derabanan. Meaning there was a lot of resonance that was floating around Hanukkah. It's a historically based derabanan that carries all this historical weight. Right. Now, if you take this, right, a few other things. So he notes that he once talked, right, Rav Yobin notes that he once talked to Rav Breuer. Rav Breuer went to Rome. When he was in Rome, he saw the Arch of Titus, right? And on the Arch of Titus, what is there, right? On Titus's arch.
Romans taking out.
So on half of it is the Romans taking the menorah. What's in the other half?
I have never visited.
So no one ever looked at the other half. But what is it? What is there? The horses of Rome. There's the horses of Rome, the celebration of their military might. Right? So Rav Breuer told him, right, you know what I was thinking of when I looked at the Arch of Titus, and people don't realize? What is the Nevuah of Chagai?
That we would...
Think about it. What does Hashem tell Chagai?
That there would be
that I will give you back the Beit HaMikdash, and I will wipe out the horses of the enemy.
Right.
He said, where is that image from? Right? He said, think about it. Right? This is obviously later. The Arch of Titus is much later. Right? But what is the symbol of the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash? Two things. Losing the menorah and the victory of the horses of the enemy. That's the perpetual image of the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. Probably in Bayit Rishon also. So when Hashem promises in Chagai that I'm going to allow you to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash and I'm going to get rid of the enemies, right? That is the reverse of the Churban, right? And he said that's why it's not just Chagai. But this is the last point I'll make. Chagai happens at the same time as the book of Zechariah, right? That's why the people are the same. And what happens? Zechariah is important on Hanukkah. Why? I did put it on the sheet. Why is Zechariah important on? Because Zechariah is the
that was like right.
Haftorah of Chanukah, right? The third and fourth parak of Zechariah. And guess what happens in Zechariah? Which remember is the same time. What happens? It's the same time as Chagai. He turns to Yoshua the Kohen Gadol and he says, right? Hashem has pulled you out. Halo ze'ud mutzal me'esh. You are the brand plucked from the fire. And he says, take off your dirty clothes. It has the malach put on clean clothes onto the Kohen Gadol of Yoshua.
Yeah, I should know this.
And then what does he tell him? In Perek Daled, what does he tell him? He gives him a prophecy. And what does he see in his prophecy? Vayomer ra'iti v'nei menorat zahav kula. I see a pure gold menorah. With seven, right? With 7 lamps on it. And what's next to it? Shnayim zeitim aleha. Echad miyamin mimin agula v'echad al shmala. What is there? There are 2 olive trees. You know the sign of the country that you're currently in? The menorah of 2 olive trees? Right? From Zechariah. And he says to him, what does it mean? And he says, what does it mean? Right? He asked the Malach, what does it mean? And the Malach tells to him, right? Zechariah, the Malach likes making fun of him. So he says to the Malach, what does this prophecy mean? And he says to him, don't you know? He says, no, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Right? This happens every few psukim in Zechariah. Yes, he's making fun of him. I don't know what he's making, but it sounds...
Oh my God, whoa.
And what does it send? I'm glad. I'm so good. It's your bar mitzvah barsha. So what does God tell him? What is the message of the menorah?
The menorah is different.
Lo v'chayo v'lo b'choach ki im b'ruchi amar Adonai tzvaot. That you don't win wars because you have the strongest army, but because you follow God. Right? The symbol of the menorah is that you win victories through God, which means that the last point here is that the menorah itself, it's not 2 separate miracles. The symbol of the menorah in Tanakh is the symbol that God helps you win wars. And that's why this is the Haftorah of Chanukah. And remember, this is the same time as Chagai. So in Chagai you get 2 prophecies. You'll build the Beit HaMikdash and I'll defeat your enemies. In Zechariah, the same time, he tells them, you're going to have a menorah, and the menorah represents what? That you are going to be victorious through God.
The being victorious is only 1 day of Chanukah. The other 7 are...
No! No!
Why not?
No! All of Chanukah is a joint celebration. That's the whole point. That they're not split.
They aren't split.
No, they're not split. It's not 1 plus 7. Right?
Okay.
It's 8 days. Right? It's an 8-day celebration. They're not separate miracles. That's the point. The menorah represents the victory of the battle. Right? It's explicit in Zechariah. Right? So Chanukah, it's not 1 plus 7. That's the whole point. Is that Chanukah becomes significant because it combines all these different themes. It combines the notion of light. There being hope in the world in the dead of winter. Of Adam Arishon through the menorah. It is the end of an agricultural season, which is important in Bikurim. Right? It is the fulfillment of the double prophecy of Chagai that you'll build a Beit HaMikdash and defeat the enemies. The menorah itself, according to Zechariah, is the expression of the fact that lo b'chayav lo b'chach, that what wins battles is not armies, but is God, and that's represented through the menorah. So Chazal took the menorah to capture all these multiple resonances that all happen at the same time.
That menorah in the Beit HaMikdash, they say 7.
Correct, because Chanukah is 8 days.
Right.
Right, this is the one in the Beit HaMikdash. This is 8 days. Now, why 8 days? So it could be because it was paralleling Sukkot, which is 7 plus 1.
Or the fact that we found the jug itself.
Right, that's the Beit Yosef's question. But the simplest answer is because, first of all, that's how they celebrated it. And why they celebrated it that way? Because that's how it's always been celebrated. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
You're saying that the other 7 are an extent of the first day.
I'm saying they're all one big holiday, but these themes are joint. They're not 2 celebrations.
It's not 2 celebrations.
Right? It's one celebration. They work together. That's explicit in Chagai and even more explicit in Zechariah. Right? And what becomes clear is that Chanukah, which you think starts in Bayit Sheni, right, late in Bayit Sheni during the time of the Chashmonaim, it's not true. The resonances of Chanukah start building up. Chanukah is the culmination, right, and the expression of many different celebrations, historical and agricultural significance, from Adam Arishon, as our Gemara says in Avodah Zarah, through Chagai, Zechariah, right, through the Hilchos Bikurim, and that adds that significance to Chanukah. So I figure as long as we're on Daf Ches and Avodah Zarah, right, we should have a pre-Chanukah shir that ties in the themes both of Avodah Zarah to Chanukah. I thought that would take us 2 days, but it's good. We did it in 1 day. So we'll see what we'll do tomorrow. We'll see what we'll do.
Would you say what's coming later?